Okay, so my name is, well, yeah, Judy's head is in the way.
All right. Take two.
So my name is Melanie Calabrese, and this is the third week of Advent, and it focuses on joy. So Psalm 30, verse 5 says, "Joy comes in the morning." And I'm here today with my friend Andy Villa, and we're going to be talking about joy.
There's many examples that you and I have shared over the years on our medical mission trips. What keeps us going on those trips is the joy that we see in people who one would think, how can they feel joy based on their circumstances? And one thing that comes to mind is our first trip to Kenya on a fact-finding mission. We went to a refugee center, had hundreds of thousands of refugees in Kakuma, Kenya. And when we went there, we initially weren't providing medical care. We were just trying to assess what their needs were. That area gets less than 2 inches of rain throughout the entire year. So water is a very precious commodity. So the people in that community have to walk at least a mile every day just to get their daily allocation of water. So when we got to the center, a group of women met us, sat us down, and they washed our feet with water. I'm going to cry now. So when I think of that, they were being Jesus to us, and we were being Jesus to them. And it was their most precious allocation of water. I mean, their most precious substance that they were living on. And they met us, and it was just pretty remarkable. You know, you see people that don't have water, food, clothing, shelter, and yet they have the joy of Jesus in them. I would encourage people to become a part of a medical team, work a witness team, because as you know, it's pretty powerful. And just to share the love of Jesus, and the love goes back and forth for sure.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree. I remember in Guatemala looking at these people, the kids had no shoes on their feet. They're running around, living in poverty, and yet they were so welcoming and so loving and so warm to us, even though they had nothing. And it was just an amazing feeling to know how much love they had for us, even though we were there to help them. Any other stories or thoughts you could share about your trips, your medical trips?
There was another trip to the Philippines. It was a surgical trip. And so we took over the OR in one of the hospitals. And I saw this woman who's probably about 40. And she was probably about 4'8" and weighed probably 90 pounds. And she had this exceedingly large tumor in her abdomen, which had been there for years. If you looked at her, it looked like she had quadruplets. She was really, really large. And she had no insurance. And so when we were there, we were providing care for people without insurance. And so I ended up taking the tumor out of her, and it weighed 35 pounds. And so it was literally a third of her body weight. And she was eternally grateful. She made my trip. She gave me a hug after, and she said, giving me my life back. And I prayed with her. And it was just stuff like that. It keeps you going on those trips. And it was really, and she was filled with joy before I operated and certainly after I operated.
It's amazing. The practice of gratitude can be naming gifts, the good gifts around us, which makes space for God's joy to flourish. Thank you for sharing and highlighting how God has allowed you to experience and share joy.
We've been blessed.